listening to the Ball Talk podcast with me, Ryan Bailey. This podcast is brought to you by Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. Head over to Instagram and give them a follow at adapt_clinic. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe or follow button as well. Without further ado, let's get straight into the podcast. Right folks, how are things? Episode number 40 of the Ball Talk podcast. It's the first podcast in 28 that we've been able to do them face to face. Today I'm joined by former Leitrim senior footballer Emlyn Mulligan. Emlyn, we're climbing Knocknarea, as you can see in the background here, overlooking Strand Hill. Tell us why we're doing this today.
Yeah, Rian, good to have you with me today for the stroll. A good bit of company, but yeah, listen, I suppose I'm on day actually 25 here today of my 30-day Knocknarea challenge. So I set out at the start of November, climbed the mountain for 30 days consecutively to raise money for two charities, Little Blue Heroes, which is a charity involved in the Garda Síochána, which I'm involved in myself, with sick children, and then locally here the Sligo Cancer Support. So yeah, listen, coming to the end now, but as I said, it's good to have you here with me to keep me company for the hour trek or so.
Yeah, well, we'll see. The camera work might be shoddy enough, but sure, we'll go with it.
You're panting up the steps already, and don't worry, give it.
Yeah, we started halfway up, so we said we'd give ourselves a good run at it. We were only talking about there, Emlyn, last week's games in the football. Wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, listen, it was a crazy weekend, I think, with everything that was going on, and from Saturday night in Croke Park to the memory ceremony, obviously for the 100 years for Bloody Sunday, and then obviously, I suppose unfortunately the game didn't live up to expectation with Dublin and Meath, but then Sunday obviously took a totally different twist with Tipperary first, which to me wasn't a massive shock, to be honest. I think watching the teams in Tipperary over the years, they were well capable of getting that performance, but Cork, I suppose, on their side things were very poor. But then obviously Cavan then outdid Tipperary, I suppose, with their shock win in many eyes. But listen, I think for the championship and the year that's in it, and for all weaker, not so-called smaller counties, it gives them belief, I suppose, is the biggest thing going forward. And now it is only one in maybe 10-20 years these things happen, but at the same time, for the people of Cavan and Tipperary, it was an absolutely massive day for them, which I was delighted to see.
It feels hard for them not being able to celebrate it properly as well.
Yeah, the emotions of the pitch was unreal, but Jesus, you can only imagine it with the crowds around, or for the celebratory going home, or different things like that. So
we're heading up the next steps, we'll should be able to record at that. So I'm sure you saw it, Emlyn, and for anyone that's listening or watching that hasn't heard about it, John Kinillan, former Westmeath senior footballer, sent out an open letter there over the weekend. Did you read it?
I've read it. He's been in touch with me himself, so I actually only before you came, I was only texting him and said I'll give him a ring at the end of the week. But yeah, listen, in fairness to John, I suppose it's very disheartening, I think, well, for any footballer in any of the lower counties, but Leinster especially over the last number of years has just been I know it's been farcical in terms of results, and that's nobody, it's not the Dublin footballers' fault. They're only doing what they're provided with and supplied with, but in terms of, I suppose, equality within the province itself, you can definitely agree with John's concerns, and I'm sure a lot of other players will come on board to voice their concerns at national level, you know.
Definitely, yeah. Did you see the bit where, I don't know if those of you listening have seen it or not, but there was a bit where he said how the Dublin boys rocked up in their tracksuits and everything for the Leinster final, and Westmeath had to go out and buy their own shorts then as well. They paid 35 quid a piece to buy their own shorts for the game.
Yeah, listen, I suppose John, and for John's side of things, I've actually never had to experience that in Leitrim, to be honest. And I suppose every county board and every county is different, but being involved with Leitrim, I suppose I can honestly put my hand on my heart and say we never really did want for too much. We always had them basics right, you know. And not having the cars, not having these things, it was never something we ever had, so it was never something we missed. But at the end of the day, all you want is some bit of level playing field. And at the end of the day, the Dubs are where they are, and they attract the big companies to sponsor them, and you can't begrudge them that. But I suppose at lower level, there's a lot of money being pumped in, and I suppose the equality of funds and this sort of thing. But listen, population's huge, a huge factor as well. Like the numbers they pick from. I've played football up there for a number of years myself. St. Bridget's population alone was 3 or 4 times the early size of Leitrim, you know. So listen, try how you level it out is very hard, you know. That's the big question, and I suppose that's where John's looking for some sort of answers, maybe from Leinster Council. But I suppose you have to hand it to him at least for for trying to raise the issue.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've just got another person coming on to us here now.
He's right beside there, actually. Yeah, I'll walk in up there.
In the spot. So yeah, as you were saying, the fundraiser, if anyone wants to donate to it, there'll be a link in the description of the video as well for it.
Fair play, yeah. So it's done through social media. Obviously with the GoFundMe page set up, because obviously with I suppose with COVID and that, the whole thing of handing over cash and that sort of thing, obviously we were a bit conscious of it. But yeah, if you even Google my name with Knocknarea 30-day challenge, you come up on Google and you'll be able to donate that way. But yeah, listen, so far so good. I think it was just over 11,500 today raised, so the support has been absolutely massive, you know. While it's me just carrying out the challenge, I suppose the two fundraisers, or the two charities I'm raising for, have obviously massive challenges ahead as the days come on. But it's been great for me mentally as well, just come up here every day. But yeah, so far so good with the money and the things, thankfully.
Yeah, and you've enjoyed it at the end as well, or Emlyn, sorry, I was talking to Enda Smith yesterday and mixing up the words.
That's the level of quality here now. Us here Leitrim now has been called the wrong names. I might turn now and walk back down.
It's not a bad comparison to be made to now, in fairness.
But no, listen, it's for me personally, getting up is a focus every day for the month, you know. Not really, I suppose there's no football really at the minute, even club, and obviously county and that is taking a different turn, so it's just great to get up and get the head cleared every day, you know. It can be tough, you know, I'm only coming off night shift last night, so I only got 3 or 4 hours sleep, but listen, it gets me going for the day anyway, thankfully.
Yeah, and you're a member of the Guards, you said?
Yeah, I'm stationed now and joined the Guards in 2008, 2007, so I've ended up in Boyle now in County Roscommon, so trying to keep the people of Boyle there safe for the last year or so. So yeah, listen, it's grand where I am, these nice people around there, and I'm living here in Sligo, so not too bad commute-wise in that.
And tell me about the Garda football team as well. I was talking to Martin McGowan from Leitrim at the Leitrim Mayo game, and he was saying that the choices they had for keeper on you were David Clark, Sean Patton, Brendan Flynn and Evan Comerford from Tipperary. I don't know if you were on that team or not, but what's the story with the Garda football? Do you play often or?
Yeah, well I suppose it's the same as the Sigerson in college first. We did first when I went into Templemore, was involved in 2 years. Actually it was Colin O'Riordan's father.
Right, okay.
Who was managing us down there. He hadn't an eye. Me and him ended in bad terms with me. He wasn't too happy with me claiming a lot of expenses travelling that, so it didn't end too great. But
that's not the best thing to say when you're taking 11 grand off people for
no, but I said no, in fairness it wasn't my issue. I said unfortunately I was putting in the miles coming from Kinloch, and Kinloch and Templemore was a fair distance, so
that's fair. So
but anyway, no, listen, there was seriously strong teams, like players, there was all county footballers really, like from Dennis Glenn and Aidan O'Mahony, John Miskla.
Yeah,
it was countless, like, you know. I suppose that was one luxury that the Guards did have. That year they went on to actually the Sigerson final, and they were bet by Jordanstown. Went on to win the Sigerson league year after. But we were all extremely competitive teams, and I suppose the advantage they had was they were a lot more mature maybe than other college teams, you know.
Yeah.
Because the age difference was varied from 20 up to 30, whereas most college teams you're probably in around your 20, 21 years of age, you know.
Yeah.
Unless you're the likes of Michael Miles or someone that played college football is about 45. But no, listen, these things were always a massive factor. But yeah, listen, the quality of players. I've played the last 2 years now for the Irish Guard. I think we play the Defence Forces in a game every year. Played for after 2 years ago and again last year, and the same as that. Just county footballers coming out of every angle, you know, and even in the hurling, you've the Mahers, you know, it's a great selection there. But unfortunately, you don't get to do it that often. So when you do, it's always a nice kind of moment because you're obviously representing the job as well, you know.
Special, yeah. As you were saying there, you mentioned Michael Miles there, and it's you've seen it yourself. Everyone's seen in the GA the last 10-15 years maybe. There's been a timeline of it being about bringing in a good manager, but at one stage, but now it's a whole backroom team. You've got to have 3 or 4 with you that are good player managers as well. And you had a good relationship with Michael Miles in Leitrim as well.
Yeah, listen, in fairness, as you said, the job of a manager now is, I suppose inevitably a lot of managers just manage what's around them and keep everything ticking over, and a lot of the responsibility comes down to your trainer coach. And obviously I was lucky enough under Benny Guckin. Well, early on in my Sligo IT days, Michael Miles, he managed me freshers and then involved in the Sigerson of Sligo, and then obviously he joined up with us then when I was in Leitrim, and he'd be a good friend of mine. But in terms of a coach, he's definitely, I rate him up as one of the best, you know. And he was at Leitrim under 20s there up to last year, and he was a massive loss from the 11 goal, like, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, as you said, in terms of coaching, it's vital to have someone that, and like the likes of Michael, more than a lot of fresh approach to it, you know.
Yeah.
And listen, as a friend as well, like, he's a good relationship with players, and you need that as well as coaches. Like, players have to trust in their coaches, and I know you have to keep a line of friends and respect and that sort of thing, but at the same time, the likes of Michael now, and I'm sure there's among many others in the country, he's one of the top coaches around, in fairness.
Definitely, and we were speaking about managers as well just before we started recording. The news that came out the weekend about Mickey Harte going to Louth. What do you make of that?
Yeah, listen, I think a lot of the people in the country were shocked about it. But listen, Mickey seems to be a man that obviously can't stay away from football. Fair chance to admires the optimism. A lot of people, even like myself, might say, well, Jesus, that's a nice thing allowed. Maybe it's money, who knows, we can't answer that, but
yeah.
Allowed last week to leave relegated there from Division 4, didn't win a game, or Division 3 should say, didn't win a game. You know, they've been up and down over the last number of years, but again, I'd say he's just a football man, wants to be involved, he has ambition. They have a new stadium coming in the next couple of years. I heard Peter Fitzpatrick, you know, an interview from him, and he wants them to get up to the Division 2 team as well. And so, listen, you have to admire things like that have ambition as well, you know. And it's all good and well saying I want to get out of Division 4. This whole roller coaster going up and down from 3 to 4 or 4 to 3 consistently, you need to, you know, have some stability, and I suppose Mickey's probably the right man to have in that position for them.
Exactly, yeah. No, because even as we were speaking about earlier as well, Emlyn O'Hara was on the podcast with myself and Matty Donnelly and Michael D. McAndrew last week, and he spoke about his ambition for Sligo. He thinks Sligo should be a top 12 county. Some people might look at that and start laughing. The same with Mickey Harte saying that as well. But like after last weekend, Cavan were in the relegation battle in Division 3. Cavan relegated to Division 3. You know, that's going to give teams a lot of hope for next year.
Yeah, completely. And listen, the likes of Emlyn, again, I know personally, and I think he'd be a great addition for Sligo, especially living here now. I've kind of close connections with Sligo football a lot, but he's an ambition man. He achieved a lot with Sligo, and I suppose he played at that level, so it's very easy for him to come out and say that because he's seen Sligo in that position. So
yeah,
his aspirations are to get back there. It's not a case that Sligo have never been up there. He probably feels that they're not in the right position that he feels, and he wants to do something about it. So now whether Sligo County Board give him the job is another question, but
yeah,
I think to have a local man, which all the younger lads I'm sure in Sligo have massive respect for. You know, he carried himself here as well as a Sligo footballer. On the pitch he did his talking as well, you know. So.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, listen, I think, as you said, managers have to come out with that ambition, and players need to be hearing that as well, you know.
Yeah.
To say that, well, at least Emlyn O'Hara believes in us. Because belief obviously is a huge thing as well, you know.
Massive. We're nearly at the top now. You can see it there. You see, where I can see it now, it looks like we're near the top. But it's looking nice now, in fairness.
Can't beat that view every day, in fairness. Like, that's one thing for doing this. Get up here and up now, it's hard bet now, it's good for the soul.
It's serious altogether. So who have you had over the last few weeks? You've had a few guests up with you. Who have you had?
Well, different people, I suppose, I suppose the one McHugh, a good friend of mine, we did run it most mornings. That's good for. He's been involved with Sligo obviously last number of years. Darren Cairns here, he's been goals for Sligo back in one. He was the sub-keeper back in one Connacht.
That's right, yeah.
Stephen Cohen, another, I don't know, is he retired now or not? He doesn't know himself, but I came in and Mr. O'Hara was having a special time, you know, it's just at the end of the week, so we'll see. That was probably going up, making me fit for it.
The grand finale now, getting the barrel.
And then I've just had to figure out a few of her friends and family that were in the area. So listen, yeah, we're trying to keep it obviously to the 5 page, you know, so
yeah,
a lot of people getting in touch, but I didn't want to be breaking any boundaries. And then obviously I had RT up with me then for a morning.
That's right, yeah.
Darren Farrell. So yeah, listen, it's been it's really helped me, and even having yourself here, like as I said, you find yourself at the top of the mountain before you know it, you know. Actually, when you come on your own, I meant thinking of everything, and it's just a lot more mental challenge. But
yeah,
no, it's been great, thankfully.
And I saw you had Barry Manley up here one day as well.
Jeez, Barry, never forgot. Jesus, we discussed and never mentioned him.
Something I noticed though last week in at work, I saw that both yourself and Barry played for Rovers, whether that be at the same time in different stages. How long ago since you played Rovers?
Yeah, I played Rovers, Jesus, was, when did I start? I suppose I started out playing, my home club was Melvin Gales.
Yeah.
And I would have grown up in London, moved to Knocknarea at 8 years of age, and I would obviously played for Melvin Gales then, and my dad was obviously all like a lot of guards back then, they were all involved coaching on bench teams and their sons and that, but we just decided to start a soccer team. It was called Melvin Celtic, and I was called inside Leitrim underage and 13, Mickey Feeney and Ian Harrison were coaches back then, and Sligo Leitrim very successful. We won a couple of the Italy Cup and the Cup in England, the Holland Cup. We were very blessed at that age, and then Sligo Rovers happened to set up an under 15 team.
Okay.
And a lot of that Sligo Leitrim team kind of moved into that. And I suppose from there then, I was lucky enough at 16, Sean Connor came in as manager and played me in a few pre-season friendlies against Shamrock Rovers, that sort of thing. And eventually then he offered me a part-time contract at the time. From there, I was still very young, I was 16, 17, 18 years of age. And Sean obviously departed then, and Rob McDonald came in and he offered me a full-time contract. And he actually, Shamey Coleman and myself and Shamey would have been actually competing for the same position at right back.
Okay, right.
But Rob, we had a few pre-seasons and things didn't go too well for Shamey at the time, but Rob incidentally released Shamey and told him that he wasn't giving him a contract. So I spoke to my parents and they just didn't see a career in it for me. Listen, football's not all about winning at the end of the day. I very little to show for what I put into it, but I've met some great people over the years, you know, and I suppose there is a lot of winning medals and this sort of thing, but likes that she turns you into a good person, you know, gives you a focus in life going forward, and it just makes you more determined in life, I think, and it gives you good aspects and good kind of, I suppose, good characteristics as such. And as I said, Sean, my friends now are all from GA, so like it's not all about the medals you have, you know. Yeah. Some people focus in on that, but you've got to be a good person at the end of it all, rather than showing how many kind of medals I have, you know.
It's true, yeah. We were only there in the house chatting about it. You know, we're saying at work as well. It's a discussion that's come up. It's completely unrelated from football, but it's come up in the pub a few times as well. So I'll put the question to you. You got three acts, one concert, 3 acts. Any bands, Prosper, Future, singers, whatever. Who have you got? Are you a music man?
Yeah, I'm a music man. Yeah, to a degree. So if 3 acts, past presidents or whatever.
Yeah.
Who I'd love to go to, is it? Or,
yeah. If you got one day.
One day. Well, Coldplay, my number one. Phil Collins. I'm a fan of Phil Collins recently over the last couple of years. I like the 80s, 90s music early on, and I'd be a big Oasis fan too.
Okay.
That'd be off the top of my head now. Locally, yeah, like the Coronas, that sort of stuff. But again, listen, I'm kind of a very, very, in terms of music, anything I can listen to Jesus Christ. I can listen to Patrick Feeney on the Ocean FM country show, whatever to be on, you know.
That should do. Yeah. Perfect. So we're back now. We're just halfway on the way down where we're going to record from the very top, but the wind wasn't really helping things. If you're just joining us on YouTube, this is part 2. Go back to part 1 and watch that from the start. Myself and Emlyn Mulligan here. We're doing the second half, the descent of we did our bit of analysis. We did a half-time analysis up on the top there, and we're doing the descent of Knocknarea here now again. So if you're on Spotify, you've missed nothing. If you're on YouTube, you missed the first half probably. So I'd invite you to go back and take a look at that. So Emlyn, this is what today's number 25. You said, yeah.
25, yeah.
Yeah, so you have 5 more days now. Have you anything in plan in store? This will be up now Friday. You'll be doing day 27 that day, but anything in plan? Any big finale, no?
No, nothing. Getting through it now till next Monday, and I haven't had any alcohol as such in the last 5 weeks. So I'm planning to have a few celebratory alcohol beverages on Monday afternoon. But no, listen, unfortunately, with the lockdown, that's the most extreme it'll be getting to, unfortunately. But no, listen, I'm just looking forward to getting to the last day and hopefully get again a bit more of a push with the fundraiser, and hopefully, as I said, raise as much as they can by the end of it. And no, but listen, it'll be great to get the challenge completed.
Yeah, no, it's massive. And as a guard then as well, how have you found the lockdown? Have you found it a bit? I'm sure you found it a bit difficult.
It's different in our job. Listen, obviously we're out there in the front line at times, and it's been tough. It's been tough because I think listen, we've seen nationally members of the public who get frustrated with Gardaí and that, but listen, we're detailed to do what we're supposed to, what we're told to do, and like checkpoints and this, and it is very hard. We're just trying to get people to be compliant, and when there is no fines and regulations really there, like people can make their own decision on it, So
as an inter-county footballer, well, for myself anyways, as a club player, my idol growing up was Kieran McDonald. How was yours? Would you have been able to put your hand on any one fella?
Growing up, always Borg Joyce.
Right.
Always the one player really. I suppose growing up Donegal won All-Ireland in 1992. We were living in Rotherham at the time, and I would have been kind of familiar. Listen, I was only 5 years of age or so, and I could always remember Declan Connor and Tony Boyle and players like that. But I suppose it was enough to really know what was going on. Derry and that. But Porrick Joyce was always the number one, and then I was actually blessed in 2008 to get playing for Connacht, and Porrick Joyce played in that team with me, and I suppose that was always one memory. I remember after it, I remember going into the dressing room at K2, and I was the first man in, and then Porrick Joyce came in, and Jesus, I didn't know where to sit or look, and then to go out playing with him, like, and I remember the first ball he gave me, nearly hit me in the mouth. He kicked 110 that day. He was just phenomenal. Up until his last days, he was gifted, and and that definitely has been number one. Yeah.
And you're saying there, you play for Connacht. This is a topic that I haven't actually brought up on the podcast in quite a while, but it's the Railway Cup. Do you think there's a place for it in the game still?
Listen, I suppose, well, if there's ever a place for it now, it probably is, because spectators now is irrelevant in the games at the minute, and you can see the biggest thing that people used to talk about in the provincial was there's no crowds, which is fair enough, but the turnout of players was always top notch, and for the likes of myself playing with Leitrim, and for even some of the Sligo players, it was a great honour to get up and play with, the Connacht lads, and play against boys from Leinster, and play against the cream of the crop, really. Like, it was the only opportunity you could really test yourself, and I was lucky enough to play 5 or 6 times, and lucky enough to win it in 2013, and Connacht hadn't won it in nearly 50 years, and it's just funny, because I was on to Roche last week. I just sent him a message after winning the Connacht, and he captained us that day, and he was saying he's well used to lifting trophies now in empty stadiums, because he says there's no one at that, and there was no one at the Connacht final, so he says he'd be happy if he's lifting one in an empty Croke Park too. But getting away from that, no, listen, the crowds obviously is what people are basing it on, but in terms of players, there was never a question, even when you rang any of the Mayo or Galways for Connacht, if they were invited in, they all came, so I think that alone shows the hunger that was there for it. But again, I think GA, they're always looking at maybe revenue and money and this sort of stuff, and it wasn't bringing in anything, but it's not all about that too. It's, as I said, the players from the weaker counties to show your skills with the best of the best. I suppose for me it's very satisfying to prove that you are able to play at that level,
Yeah, and even if they did it as in every, how they do it, like at the soccer, the World Cup, and 2 years later the Euros, they might do that, or the Railway Cup, and then the international routes.
Yeah, listen, the year we won, I was playing centre forward, and even though up to 2-3 years ago, the last year I think it was on it, I actually coming to the end of my career, just with Niall Murphy there, from here from Sligo, and Kevin McDonald was on it, they were probably our 2 best players, and he's still in Combe or Jason Doherty, these fellas playing inside, and Niall Murphy was, hands down the best player on the pitch. And I said, it took days like that for him to really show how good he was, and for other counties to appreciate how good the likes of them boys were, and Kevin as well. And unfortunately Kevin's career was ended short, but the likes of them boys were well able to mix the best, and the likes of Interprovincial gave them that platform to show it as such.
Definitely, yeah. We're nearly coming towards the bottom of it again, I think, not too far away.
No.
But no, as you were saying there, you touched on Mayo and Aidan O'Shea. Can you see Mayo doing it this year?
Stranger things have happened, haven't they? It's true. After last weekend, I've just stopped predicting whatever's going to happen. Obviously, listen, they're able to really able to improve their performance, against the quality teams, and they've shown that over the years. They've definitely one thing to have with them, and they've always carried the emphasis and the pace, and the likes of really add to it. Another player gets serious question marks over, which I can never understand. He's just an ultimate finisher, that fella. People say this against the Wigan. He's taking 9-10 points a game every game. So likes him will need to step up, because I suppose in terms of Aidan O'Shea, they're not getting a massive scoring rate out of him. But
no.
He does different jobs for you. But I think they're going too much for Tipperary, but I think they're in a perfect situation. But in one way or off regardless, and if there's every year to do it. Well, 2020 seems to be that year. And
I think it's, what is it now, 6 years ago since Kerry were in transition and won the All-Ireland, so Mayo are in transition, suppose they know as well as you said.
You take it last year, people were saying, and I suppose on the Gaul, even going out to Mayo, people, Mayo overturned them when no one was expecting them, even down there.
Absolutely,
we keep writing them off. Mayo's been incredible over the last 10 years. They've given everyone. I have a massive grow for them, and I just think while Dublin are the best team at this and that, Mayo have to be up there. Them teams that played them over a couple of Ireland finals a couple of years ago, because there was literally nothing in it, and
not at all. No.
Them players, a lot of them players deserve something, and I know you don't go out and you don't deserve a hang, you've earned it, but in fairness, them lads, like even Andy Moore and Derek, them boys put in serious shifts over the years, and we're very unfortunate not to win All Ireland.
Yeah, there were some guys that won club All-Ireland instead of people Crossline or Ballina or something,
Yeah.
but still in terms of the inter-county they just don't have enough really.
No, and it was always just that bit of lacking. And listen, thanks to Tommy Conroy and younger boys like that, they're the next generation, and you'd still nearly feel it Andy Moore and still do a job in there. You know what I mean? After watching him in the club championship this year, like you can't teach some of the stuff that he does on the pitch. You know, it's just his awareness and his runs and that. But no, listen, hopefully they do get to an Ireland final, because no disrespect to Tim Prairie, I think we'll make it for a better final if it is a Mayo Dublin final. You know, I think at the end of the day we might be blessed with 2 massive semi-finals. So I think ideally it would be a better situation to see Mayo win that final to make it more competitive anyway.
Yeah, I don't think Tipperary will be too disappointed with that either. Like, they've done far more than what people would have expected of them. It's only 4 weeks ago they were in a relegation battle against Leitrim. Sorry.
Yeah, like, and even that day, like, I was watching it was Leitrim against the Breeze on the front foot, and then Ryan O'Rourke came off with a serious injury and we struggled a bit, but like they just about got over the line with Leitrim, you know. So
yeah.
to go from that to winning a provincial final, be it, listen, Cork weren't great on the day, but you have to hand it to Tip. They got it right on the day, and I suppose it's a massive achievement in that itself. But listen, I'm sure if they went up more competitive with Mayo and put up a good test for themselves, it's very easy for me to be happy with that. But I'm sure inside their own bubble, the belief now that they can probably cause another upset, you know.
Yeah. I wonder will they wear the jerseys again? They're nice, aren't they?
No, I seen today it's confirmed they're not.
They're not?
No, they're not. They've come out and said no. They said that was. I think they're right too. I think, listen, the distraction. It's another distraction. Listen, it was done for the day to go over, reset back to old ways and focus forward. But yeah, the county board come out saying that they're going back to their blue and yellow, or blue and whatever it is. So
yeah, it's a serious jersey, isn't it?
That was lovely, yeah.
Nice Quinlivan kicking from all angles and all together.
As the saying goes, we can look well, play well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Quinlivan, he had the nice buzz cut and everything.
Jesus Christ, I tell you, the jersey on, Asher, listen, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You're feeling good, you'll play good, you know. So, no, listen, it was great for them.
So we spoke about Leitrim earlier on, your inter-county career. Have you closed the door in inter-county now?
Listen, I tell you, Rian's all over the place, to be honest. I don't know, like, it's a strange one. Listen, it's come to it's been a horrible year and a half, to be honest, with it's ended, you know. Like, I suppose people, I came up after the Roscommon game in 2019 and just said to Terry, like, I was just disheartened the way things were going, and I suppose I felt that how are you? I felt that I should have been getting more game time. We hadn't the best relationship communication wise, and I suppose my own mental health, I know to use the factor, I was actually pulling the hair out of my head. I was hating going train. I felt unwanted nearly among the panel, you know, and having gone 6 months previous to that, getting man of the match in Loud in the qualifier, doing well against Monaghan, to be nearly basically told 6 months later you're not in the top even 10 forwards in the county, and literally that's what was nearly handed to me. And I walked away from it, and then literally the punishment kind of was as such, was you're not getting back in the panel next year, you know. And I kind of found that hard to take, because I've given so much to Leitrim, like, and to be it was for the better of the team me stepping away, because just my attitude wasn't in the right place, and it wasn't good having me around as such, you know. And I didn't want to be there if I didn't feel I was giving everything, you know. And I was getting nothing back. So yeah, listen, I spoke to Terry then in March. We had a heart-to-heart-ish, and he said, listen, the door will be open this year coming forward. No, I don't know. I suppose it's in his hands. I thought I had a relatively good enough club championship. Like, I wouldn't be closing the door, but then I don't know if the body's able to do it either after missing a year. Yeah. And listen, I would have liked to get back and play a bit of Division 3, which I think would actually be suited me better to play. Because sometimes with the higher division you go up, there's a bit more football played. Whereas Division 4 is a lot of slogging and dogging, you know. So listen, if Terry rings up the phone, I'd like to sit down and chat him, but at the same time, I kind of refuse to retire. You know, it's something I probably never will retire. It's not something I believe in actually releasing a statement. I don't think I've earned the right to be, or like, I'm not a professional, you know. I'm only doing something that I love, so I'll never probably retire as such. But listen, I'll always be available, probably up until I feel capable of doing so, you know. So hopefully, listen, nobody knows. As I said, it's in Terry's control, but again, I don't know what the future holds. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, because you'd see with some, like, I think every county team kind of does it. They leave a few of the older heads, the more experienced players in, so that in Leitrim's case, the likes of your Paul Keeney's and that can come through and learn bits off you as well.
Yeah, like I thought that. Listen, I found it hard to be going from starting to a sub straight away, you know. And
yeah,
I found it. And there's no question. And I did find it difficult to go into that role. And I suppose now, if you did go back in, I would be happy to know that role, that there is potentially maybe 20-25 minutes in, and you know what I mean. And I know I'd be able to give tactical fitness lessons and that. That's always been decent, you know. And yeah, like, I feel my mind is still there to see a pass or to set up something, you know. But Listen, I suppose that's why I went in at the minors, and this year obviously when that role came, and again it's just about helping young lads to progress into senior football, and obviously I didn't think that'd be the way it'd be going at my age, but listen, the years are pushing on. I'm turning 33 now in December, so at the end I have to look at that too. But if I felt I wasn't capable of doing a job, I definitely wouldn't put myself in a position to go back and kind of nearly be happy and content just to sit on the bench as well, you know.
Yeah, as you said, it's all about giving back as well.
It is, of course it is, yeah. And listen, I've enjoyed it. Like, listen, I don't know what the minors, I'm not sure what's going to happen next year, whether we stay on as a management team or what the future holds in terms of that. That end of things is definitely what I'm kind of eyeing at the minute, coaching wise, or getting involved with somebody even local here or something, you know.
Apologies now if anyone's listening on Spotify hearing us sniffling. Well, me anyways, because the wind is coming at you and you're kind of shoving out the back end. But we're nearly towards the bottom now. Rovers are on tonight.
Listen, the Rovers have a great finish the season, in fairness, like since COVID, since the lockdown came in, like to be finishing and getting, you know what I mean, in fairness you have to hand it to them, and you know, you'd be looking at social media, and it's the same in every sport, the amount of critical supporters, you can never keep anyone happy, you know. People are saying they're a joke at this, like at the end of the day their ambition was to stay up probably come that start of that lockdown, and to be in a cup quarter final with a great opportunity, and to be looking at Europe next year, like in fairness it's turned out to be a great season, and in fairness to Liam Buckley you have to hand it to him, you know.
Well, they've been doing massive. What about the Harps as well last week?
And the Harps as well, which was great. Like for the likes of the Northwest, it's great to have Finn Harps in it. And I played soccer for Ulster Schools back in the day under Ollie Horgan, coached me, he managed me. And like he's a character in himself, and I think he's one of those in the League of Ireland. They need the likes of his personality, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously great, and then like Longford Town back up as well. So it just makes it a wee bit more for derby-ish games for likes of Sligo, because then we're over here in the Northwest with Finn Harps, and I suppose it's hard to get entice players to maybe come this way financially and that. But the only thing is, when you're looking out here like the Strand Hill, and I think I heard Liam Buckley speaking about it, the joy he's got actually living in Sligo. Like we're blessed here in this county, like, and this come from Leitrim and now nearly transformed Sligo, man. Like listen, I couldn't speak highly enough of living in this, and I suppose there are little things that might attract players in terms of having a nice lifestyle here, you know.
Yeah, because they said it on the Sligo Way podcast there the day they were on about, I think it was the Sligo Way podcast said it. So like even the likes of Elding and that have moved to, Anthony Elding has moved out to Riverstown and that as well. Like fellas are actually settling in Sligo now too.
Yeah, there's a good few. Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, there's a good few fellas who've actually stayed put. And as you said, it's just a place we're living in, I suppose, more so. As you said, you're walking down here, no people can't see it, but like through the views and the fresh air, the sea air, and good restaurants, bars, loads of lovely places for walks. Like there is a lot of things to attract people to Sligo, you know, and I think it's probably not as promoted as like Kerry in these places, even Donegal for that matter, but we're absolutely blessed where we are here at this moment.
It's savage in fairness now, and I think the lockdown has kind of brought people to that as well. They're kind of looking around the place. I don't think Glen of Horseshoe has got as much business as it's got now in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and like, even I had a couple of lads up here, like living only up the road, they'd never been up here in Knocknarea, like, you know, it's incredible. And I was like, someone probably nearly climbed Kilimanjaro quicker than they've ever climbed Knocknarea, and they're only up the road from them. So I said, even in that aspect for myself, it was good to get lads up here, and just I suppose listen, to be appreciative of what you have here in County Sligo.
Yeah, it's a lovely one out by us as well at Locktout there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We'll have to do that someday ourselves.
That'll be our next podcast.
It could be a series now we could do. Emlyn and Ryan go hiking or something.
Yeah, just we'll get the two Johnnies.
There'll be some two Johnnies alright to do it, must it? But yeah, you're saying now living in Sligo, and it's kind of been a rumour now the last few years that Mulligan going to St Mary's. Can you see yourself playing club football in Sligo at any stage?
I can see myself playing in club. Listen, I'll be honest with you, Ryan, I wouldn't write it off. Listen, I suppose your life. I've just recently purchased a house here now in Sligo town.
Okay.
Just on the Strand Hill Road there. So listen, it's down the line. Listen, at the end of the day, all you're looking for in life is an easy. At my age now, you're just looking for an easy life, you know.
Yeah.
Coming back from work, coming back from work, doing 12-hour shifts. The last thing you need to be doing is getting into a car, drive another 45 minutes out the train, and come back in late. I've done that for too long, and I think. And it's not about loyalties and you can't leave your club. For me going forward, it's just about having an easier life and just having things on your doorstep. And listen, people have been on to me, you know, said to me, oh, Mary's or Clare or this and that. I don't know, listen, it's not something I've really thought about, but at the same time, if you're going to do it, you'd have to be kind of doing it soon enough in the next year or two if you want to give it a bit of a rattle properly, you know. But again, no, listen, rumours aren't true anyway, but it's definitely not something I would write off in the near future, definitely not. But I suppose the biggest thing is leaving your home club. Now, my problem is I've left it once before, going to Dublin for 4 or 5 years, and I don't regret that, because it was probably the best 4 years or 5 years I actually played football while being intercounty. It's probably the best 4 years intercounty football I played as well, and that is the reason being playing at that level, you know. But I know, listen, I have close connections here in Sligo. Like, obviously my wife's from Sligo, her dad's from Beltrad there, like her uncle's Mickey Cairns. You know, like it's, you know, so I know all the history of Sligo and all that sort of stuff, you know, so I feel like I have a good connection here with Sligo, you know, but we'll see in the near future. Take each of the Strandboys off the pedestal, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I have a jersey in the car, you can throw it on if you want, actually.
No, so I suppose watch this space, is it?
Watch this space, yeah. I know we were lucky enough a few years ago ourselves had Pat Hart to come into the club, and it could be good to shake things up a bit too.
Listen, and I suppose for me it'd be down the line, you'd be looking at if your children or that, and that'd be the club you'd be getting them involved in, you know what I mean? I suppose it's just a connection down the line, I'd be looking at it. I wouldn't be just looking at saying going into a club for a year and that'd be it. It'd be kind of saying, well, listen, if we live in an area, so just get involved at underage, and it just makes more sense. And with COVID especially, it's giving you a different lease in life, as in, like, you're locked down. I haven't been home in weeks, like, you know what I mean? And it's like I've never been at home less in this year, and the way things are going forward, nobody knows what, like, and hopefully obviously a vaccine now comes, but the club training, that was just a struggle to even get out to the place, you know, so you have to take all these things into consideration.
Yeah, as you're saying with the vaccine there as well, some people are saying they won't take it.
Yeah, well, that's it too, isn't it?
No, like,
yeah, listen, I suppose, and that's up to everyone's individual choice. At the end of the day, they can't, I suppose, come complaining if something does happen to them, and they have to actually refuse it. But yeah, listen, it's the only good thing to hear about it. It's giving some bit of light at the end of the tunnel. That's the only thing. Definitely.
So now we're nearly at the end of the road here. Finally, nearly at the finish. You can just see it there in the background of us. So that's us nearly wrapped up. I'd like to thank Emlyn for bringing me along today.
No, just thanks for coming with me. Now, as I said, I enjoyed the chat. I suppose I actually could walk. The chat was enjoyable. We could have went for another bit, you know.
That's it, yeah.
Probably not near long enough, but then the people listening to these podcasts don't want to be listening to me and you gibbering on for too long either.
It's better than listening to us gibbering on by ourselves.
No, that's true too. You know, no, I appreciate the company, and as I said, over the weekend, I'm just trying to get a push on. But listen, I understand financially people the way things are. So listen, but if people can donate, and just on top of that, whoever does donate will be put into a draw. EJ Menzer have kindly donated a €100 voucher as well for everybody, so it might come in handy for Christmas. So any donation, big or small, two good charities, as I said, Little Blue Heroes and Sligo Cancer Support, and hopefully come Monday, I'll have the challenge completed. Perfect.
So as I said in the description of the video, if you're on YouTube, you can go into the description. It'll bring you to Emlyn's GoFundMe page. If you're on Spotify, you're going to have to go searching it yourself. As always, thanks to Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy for sponsoring the podcast. The link to their Instagram and Facebook is in the description if you wouldn't mind going and give them a follow. Today is, if you're listening to this on Friday, you have until Monday until Emlyn has finished the challenge, so try and get your donations in. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks a million, folks. Appreciate it.